Yeah, no matter what, I ain't never gave up. Came close, devil tried, do the most. Can't nobody block me from my destiny. They try to block me, dog. Gotta keep the faith, I know he testing me. Made it through the fire, now I'm living proof. Said I made it through the fire, now I'm living proof. Haters taking shots, but I'm bulletproof. Whoa.
What is up, everybody? It is I, your favorite combat sports enthusiast and self-proclaimed nerd, Matt Burton, the Saiyan soldier. I'm back again with another one of the Opps. Man, this guy I competed against in roles for Ruthie, that great event you've heard me talk about so much on, and I'm gonna keep talking about him because it was so great. This is another one of my opponents that I met. Really cool guy. He's a blue belt, right?
Yep.
Out of the Ford in Edmond, Alabama, right?
Yeah, Birmingham. Yeah.
This is Jamie Flarity. Jamie, welcome on, man. It's a pleasure to have you.
You too, brother. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. No problem. No problem. I had to do it. I wanted to get as many people from the Rolls for Ruthie event as I can, and you were one of my first options. So
yeah, thanks, man.
Yes, sir. No problem. Jamie has a condition called Erb's palsy, which affects limbs. And I'm going to read you the definition of Erb's palsy before we get into Jamie's story. Erb's palsy is a condition characterized by muscle weakness and loss of sensation in the arm. The condition can occur in both adults and infants and is related to an injury in the brachial plexus, which is a network of nerves near the neck and shoulder. In infants, it may occur due to birth injury if a traumatic force is exerted downward on newborn's upper arm and shoulder during the birthing process. This condition is estimated to occur at rates as high as 2.6 in 1,000 births. So, Jamie, talk to me about how you grew up finding out about your injury and how it affected you as a child, and then coming as you matured in life, how it affected you, and then how you got into jiu-jitsu and how your life has been since then.
Okay, yeah, sure. So mine was from birth. I was born 2 or 3 months early, forget, and I was born breech, so feet first. And my left arm was wrapped around my head like so when I was born. And so the doctor was trying to pull me out because we didn't do a C-section. And so as the doctor was trying to pull me out, the whole left side of my deltoid muscle, the bicep muscle, kind of don't exist. I have a tricep muscle, so I can move that way with the tricep, but doing like curls and overhead stuff, I can't do with my left arm at all. I have a lot of nerve damage in my shoulder and the back of my neck. So this has been from birth, so I don't know what it's like to have 2 functioning arms. And so, yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I tried a lot of sports growing up. I played baseball more than anything, and I played basketball some. You know, I had to kind of find different ways to do things. I would shoot basketball, from my hip all the time because I couldn't bring both arms up. Yeah, just little things like that. My intro into jiu-jitsu, well, I'm 45, and so I don't remember when the first UFC event was, 93, 94, somewhere around there. So I can remember being a kid watching that with my buddy in his living room and watching Royce Gracie and thinking, and I've loved martial arts when I was a kid. I always loved martial arts. Kickboxing, mostly, like Muay Thai kickboxing was my favorite. And I can remember watching the first UFC and Royce Gracie and Ken Shamrock and thinking, what in the world is this guy doing? This guy's tiny. Ken Shamrock looked like he was sculpted out of stone, this big muscular dude. Yeah. And Royce Gracie is this tiny guy who, not only didn't get destroyed, which I thought was going to happen because he just from the pure aesthetic of it. Not only did he not get killed, he won. I was like, oh my God, what is this? I want to know what this is. And so I kind of did a deep dive of jiu-jitsu. And there was a point where I tried to wrestle in high school. And I went to the first few practices and realized that this isn't gonna work. I can't wrestle with one side of my body. And the coach was also a little concerned that, if I got slammed or anything on my left side, it, could have been a liability. So I ended up not doing it. Yeah.
Let's go back real quick.
Yeah.
Baseball and basketball, you said you learned how to shoot from your hip.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine, like, basketball was one of my favorite sports, and I always tried it. I know how hard it was for me with cerebral palsy, so I can imagine that was difficult.
It was interesting. Speaking of sports, I remember remember there's another instance of this later with jiu-jitsu, but I remember I forgot the pitcher's name, but he was a pitcher for the Angels. And he only had one arm. From his elbow down, he was missing an arm. Is it Abbott? I don't remember. But he had one arm. And so he would hold the glove on his arm that was amputated, pitch. And then as soon as he let go of the ball, he would put his hand in his glove and pull it back out, ready to catch the ball that came to him.
Right.
And that fascinated me, that somebody at a major level could keep up and do. He didn't let his disability stop him from doing what he wanted to do.
Right.
And and also, I loved music, still love music, but growing up in the 80s, Def Leppard was a big deal. Their drummer only had one arm from a motorcycle wreck.
Right.
So my dad'd be like, look at this guy only has one arm and he's a drummer of a famous band. Like, you can do this stuff. This doesn't mean that you can't do things.
See, that's why I wanted to go back on it, because I wanted to see like how your mindset was from there. And then you found inspiration in other people that were not the exact same but similar to your situation. That's why I wanted to go back and touch on that. But yeah, UFC, the first one was in 93. Yeah, similar to you, I found out about it through the Ultimate Fighter, watching all the smaller guys. That's what inspired me to get into it. Plus, I wrestled in high school.
Okay.
I can understand your coach being concerned, because, man, there was so many. My coach really wasn't concerned about me. He was like, because he knew who I was, and he's a go-getter. I have to have him on this podcast at some point. But anyway, he was like, we got to figure out how this works for you. How can you do this? So I wrestled on all fours.
Okay.
I would shake hands and drop to all fours and start, because we knew I couldn't stand in wrestling. So you tried wrestling. You found out it couldn't work. Is that how you got led into, after doing the deep dive into jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, because like I said, I loved martial arts, and so striking was always difficult because normally right-handed you jab with your left hand.
Right.
I can't do that. It's like I just could not hold my arm out to do that. And so, the grappling arts, once I saw jiu-jitsu, was really fascinating. And a buddy of mine, I actually still talk to him a lot now. When we graduated high school, he joined the Marines, moved around a whole lot, ended up staying in Japan for a long time. But we would talk, he ended up playing jiu-jitsu. And so we talked about it all the time. And, I would share my concerns about, I don't know if I can actually do this because I'm 3 limbs instead of 4. I don't know if this is possible. And he would send me,
you didn't understand with your limitation how it would be possible.
And so he would send me videos of jiu-jitsu players of amputees who only had one arm, that were like high levels doing crazy stuff. And he's like, look, dude, like, you can do this. This doesn't mean you can't do it. And so I guess what got me into it, I have 2 girls, 6 and 8. And from my deep dive of jiu-jitsu and understanding that a lot of it is groundwork and a lot of it is off your back. Normally when you think of jiu-jitsu, at least back then, when you think of jiu-jitsu, you think of your closed guard and somebody's on top of you and you're working from there. That's kind of the place you want to be.
Yeah.
And so for me, I thought, if I ever have kids, especially daughters, I want them to be able to take care of themselves as best as possible. And, that position in particular is a common position for assault and that kind of thing. And so I always thought, if I have daughters, I want them to know this, to at least give them a chance to get out of the situation that they don't want to be in, And so when my oldest daughter was 6, we put her in Gracie Baja here in Birmingham, and she loved it. She absolutely loved it. And this would have been in January of 2 years ago. And I would bring her to practice. My wife would bring her, I would bring her, and I'd just sit and watch. And about August of that year, I thought, you know what? I'm sitting here watching, and I've always wanted to try this. I've always wanted to do it. I have a daughter who's doing it. I want her to see see me doing it, even if I don't think I can. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I don't want her to think that she has an excuse for not trying to do something that's hard, because I think we
Right.
can all do hard things.
Yes, sir.
And so I asked the coach at the time, Josh, really awesome guy. I asked him, I was like, I have a condition called Erb's palsy. I can't use my left arm really at all. Do you think I can do this? Do you think it's okay for me to come try? And it's like, yes, like absolutely.
Got
It was a
gotta
silly question to him that I would even ask. Do you think I can do this? Right?
gotta love those type of coaches, man.
And
Tho-
absolutely, and
those type of coaches, they can make or break you, really.
one
And
hundred percent,
and
one
those
hundred percent.
those type of your coach, is that the one that you had in your corner?
No, that Braden was my coach at Rolls
Okay.
for Ruthie. This it's a different coach. He was very formative in my intro into this sport, because
Right, right.
he was so supportive. Really, all of my coaches have been since then. I've not
Yeah.
had a bad experience with any of the coaches. They've all been patient. They've all been really good at explaining things different
Yep.
ways. If I
Yep.
can't do something, if I can't hold this position, or my arm doesn't turn all the way, if I can't make this grip, I can do, like, they have all been
Yo,
phenomenal.
that is everything to
Yes.
to an adaptive jiu-jitsu
Yes.
athlete. If you have a coach that is so stuck on it has to be done this way, or
Right.
it's not like no, it's detrimental to anybody, but for an adaptive athlete, it is absolutely soul crushing. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that I've had a majority of coaches that have always been so supportive and so
Mhm.
helpful and like you said, willing to engage the challenge of working with us because a lot of people
Yeah.
are not.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was going to say, I mean, Miranda, Braden, Professor Pedro, Professor Jacqueline, like they've all been phenomenal. And not once have I felt like I was just being tolerated, or, you know what I mean? Like, they have not once I felt like I couldn't do something. They have all been phenomenal. And I can't recommend it enough.
I've only felt tolerated in probably two instances throughout my whole career, and I've been doing it since I was 17. I can say that great that they are there for you like that, man.
Yeah, man.
And I do have to correct myself really quick. I said you train out of the Fords in Edmond. You train out
Oh,
of Gracie Baja in Birmingham. Sorry,
yeah,
man.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to everybody there. And Braden's a great coach. I had a chance to talk to him a little bit and listening to
Yeah.
him coach, I was like, man, this dude's trying to get me messed up for real. Like, I was like, okay, no, all right. I remember at one point he was like, he said he's gonna sprawl down and then you can take the back, and I go, no, I'm not. In my head, I go, no, I'm not. I was like, now that he knows that, like, I was like, no, but yeah, he's a great coach too, and I'm
Yeah.
so glad that you have that environment in that system around.
Yeah, yeah, thanks, man. Me too. It's been great. That's what got me into it. And shortly after I started, I put my youngest daughter in, and she was only 4 at the time. And so she really didn't do anything. She just kind of sat next to the window, licking the glass. And so we're like, okay, maybe she's a little bit too young for this. I didn't want her to be a distraction. I don't want her to be frustrating for everybody, So we
Right.
pulled her out, waited a couple of years, and put her back in. And now she loves it. She
That's great.
so they both absolutely love it. And so we've had an opportunity to compete with them one time where all three of us competed together.
That
It
had to
was
be
Man,
incredible.
it was so fun.
You got into it to show your daughters, like, hey, look, I can do it too. That's exactly why I love the sport because it's like,
Yeah,
if I can,
yeah,
anybody can,
yeah.
And no, it's not gonna look pretty, and it may
Hmm.
not be flashy,
Hmm.
but I can do it.
Yeah.
I think it was you and Austin's no key match.
Oh yeah.
I think that for me at Rolls for Ruthie, that was match of the day because well,
That was fun. I that was a good one.
I was sitting there watching and I'm like, okay, I got my work cut out for me. I'm not about to say I can't keep up with him, but Lord, I was like, this is about to be fun. So let's talk about Rolls for Ruthie for a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
How did you find out about it? What made you want to get into it? Because I know you've only been training for 2 years, right?
2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did not know when I first started that there was an adaptive jiu-jitsu. Like I didn't know that was a thing. When I started training with Braden and Miranda, she mentioned a guy named Matt McKenzie who trains in Pelham. And
Right.
I thought, oh, this guy sounds cool. And so I messaged him on Instagram one day and I was like, hey man, I got your name and I think I was told that I should talk to you. And so I met up with him and trained with him a few times. And I mean, yeah, he's the one that got me into it. And so yeah, he asked me and I was like, yeah, dude, this sounds awesome. I'd love to do it. And so that was the first time I'd ever competed. Like I said, I've only been doing this for August. So yeah, August would have been 2 years. So just over 2 years.
That's cool.
And it was a blast, man. I had so much fun. I had been to one competition previous when my oldest daughter competed. And so that was the only like experience I had of the atmosphere of like competition. You know, everybody there was so supportive and so like it just felt like it was just a normal, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like it just felt
Yep.
like everything was just normal jujitsu and everybody
Yep.
was there under a common thing,
Yep.
no matter what your body was. Like it was fantastic. And everybody there was so awesome. Like I hope that they do it continuously forever. And I would be honored to be a part of it every time
Yeah.
that they do
Me
it. It was,
me
I
too.
loved it.
I told Hannah and Dallas, I was like, look, anytime I can be a part of this,
Mhm.
let me know because y'all are doing something amazing. Y'all are doing
Mhm.
something that needs to be everywhere, and that's kind of what their goal is. Really, you're exactly right. It felt normal. It felt like we belong. That's what
Yeah.
it felt like to me,
Yeah. 100%.
and
Yeah.
that's what it was supposed to feel like.
Yeah. It didn't
So
feel like a sideshow. You know what I mean? Like it
yeah,
didn't feel like you have normal jujitsu here and then you have all of us over here and we're just here for a show. Like it
yeah,
felt like this was 100%. We're all in the same playing field. We're all here
yep,
playing jujitsu.
yep.
And it was, man, it was fantastic.
That's exactly how I felt too. I said it on the podcast with Austin. I said
Mm.
it made us feel like we were the main event,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
exactly what they set out to do, and they
Yeah.
achieved that in spades.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We talked about you having your daughters and having them train and being able to compete with them. Tell me what that means to you as a father, and not only as a father, but as a jiu-jitsu athlete.
You know, when I started this, and this was kind of my mindset for them as well. Like I didn't really look at this as I want to compete a bunch and win a bunch of medals, and like for me, the whole point of this was being able to defend yourself, self-defense, not being able to take care of yourself in a bad situation. That was my whole goal for wanting
Right.
to start jiu-jitsu. That's still in the back of my mind every time I train. That's what I want for them. I want them to have the confidence when I'm gone and I'm not around anymore. I want them to have the confidence to know that they're going to be okay, that they at least have the tools to be okay. And because I feel like my job is to prepare them to live in a world without me, right? Like I mean, I feel like as a parent, as a dad, that's my job is to make sure that they are capable of handling themselves without me. And so I feel like jujitsu can give them that because I've already seen how it's changed both of them confidence wise. And a little anecdote, back when they first started, when Madeline, my oldest, first started training, and my youngest one hadn't yet.
Mm.
I remember there's a power outage here at the house, and my youngest was crying because there's no power in the middle of the night. Everything was pitch black, and
Right.
my oldest came out and said, "Hey, don't worry, I'll protect you. I know jujitsu." So, like, you know what
Hey,
I mean? Like,
I
so
love
that,
that.
yeah,
I
that
love
the
that.
idea that she can take care of other people and herself is what I want from this. And if they never compete, it's for them to be able to have the confidence to take care of themselves.
And that's what it's all about. I
Yeah,
I, I can't tell you how much I admire that, man. That's great.
thanks, brother.
I will be following you and them for as long as I can, and for as long as they do it, I'll be
Yeah,
following them as far as
yeah,
training
thanks, man.
wise goes. All right, man. Since you're from Alabama and you and Austin are kind of close to
Hmm.
get as far as proximity wise,
Yeah.
we're about to do our SS3, and I'm gonna ask you the same three questions that I asked him because I want to get your perspective. What three cities would you like to see a major adaptive jiu-jitsu event take place?
I would probably say Atlanta, just because it's in the South and fairly close, and it's big enough that you could get people from Texas, Louisiana, kind of all around could probably still make it there. Somewhere up north, Northeast, maybe New York. I don't know. I'm trying to think of big cities that are easily accessible. And then maybe somewhere on the west, LA, San Francisco. They had to be somewhere in California, I guess. So somewhere
I,
big enough that people could get to easily.
I know Atlanta was one of mine. I think mine was Atlanta, Vegas, and then New York because Vegas is the mecca for MMA, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
Vegas
would
actually would be a good one.
Jamie, it's been great having you on, man.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate you coming on. Great conversation. We'll definitely do a part two later on down the road.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell the people where they can find you, brother.
So I have a Facebook account. It's just Jamie.Flarity. And I have an Instagram account and it's Flarity Woodworks. It's mostly my woodworking stuff. But yeah, those are my two places you can find me online.
Sweet. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, brother. Yeah.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been another episode of the Saiyan Soldier Pod. Y'all keep in touch. We'll be back later. Peace.